The live stream is about to start. My goal here is to improve your health and wellness through a healthy diet, natural remedies, and other solutions that we'll talk about. Please put a Q or a question mark in front of any questions you might have. Sit back and enjoy. Hey now, for those of you that are working for a living, it's the day before Friday. For those of us that work every day, so it's Thursday. So happy Thursday to everybody. Hope everybody is doing great tonight. I am glad to be here. I've actually made it on a live for the last couple weeks now, so pretty excited about that. Hopefully my schedule, I've tried to free up my schedule so I can do this about every week, and hopefully we can talk about some great topics. And I'm real mad about some things going on right now, so we're going to talk about that tonight. And hopefully if y'all seen my videos over the couple of days, you know kind of what that's about. But Law Nerd Papa is the first in the house from Arizona. Michael's good to see you. Donna is in the house tonight. Hey, Donna. So glad you made it. And Lynn is here also. Hey, Lynn. Hope you're doing good. Hope y'all can hear me okay. I'm kind of stuffed up and everything. I've been doing a lot of pressure washing jobs and stuff, and the pollen's just kind of like subsided a little bit around here. We got a lot of mold and mildew and stuff, and I'm breathing that crap in every day. So another reason why I try to do as healthy of a diet as I can to kind of mitigate those effects. But hopefully y'all can hear me okay. I can't hear real good. I'm a little stuffy in both ears. So anyway, hopefully everything's good on your end. Amy is in the house tonight. And Donna Decker's in the house. Hello. Eggy Rose is in the house. And Donna asks, what do all the letters mean after your name? So the MH is Master Herbalist. The HHP is Holistic Health Practitioner. And CP is Certified, or CNC, just like yours. Yours is a little different CNC, but mine is a Certified Nutritional Consultant. Yours is a different CNC. But so that's my that's kind of my background. And when I started this channel, I didn't really try to go into that a whole lot. I really wanted to start it to kind of teach people just a healthier way of doing the standard American diet. I wanted to come in with recipes and things like that. And then with everything that's been going on the last year or so, I really wanted to bring more of my background into it. And so that's my background in it. And that's kind of my educational background. A lot of that I got while I was working full time at the same time. So like the Master Herbalist I was doing, so I'd work 6 days a week, and then my day off, we had an herbal intensive. One of them was in the mountains of Northeast Georgia. And so I would go there, learn all about herbs. And don't know if y'all know it or not, but the Appalachian Mountains and all the way down here to Georgia is the biggest source in the world after China of medicinal herbs and medicinal plants. The Amazon rainforest used to be second. We used to be third, but with all the clear cutting and land clearing they're doing in the Amazon, now we're the second behind China. So like, if you've ever seen the show, like there was a show up in North Carolina where people were going and harvesting ginseng illegally and selling it. So that's kind of the area we're from. So, you know, people for hundreds and hundreds of years around here have gone out and found, and it's been passed down, kind of lost over the last 100 years or so, except for those that kind of continue their tradition. But people know the healing power of plants and medicine. And, you know, that's another thing that makes me so mad about this whole oxalate situation and people pushing that whole agenda, because plants are truly healing. Now, you know, there's defense mechanisms in plants and things like that. But the problem with that is that it's not the defense mechanisms in plants are necessarily a problem. It's the fact that our gut microbiome is so depleted. We've lost so many the microbes that would break those things down. People have been eating those for tens of thousands of years. And I got in an argument with the guy the other day, and I'm not a paleoanthropologist, so it really doesn't matter to me how long ago. If it was, I showed him a study that said that people were eating, plants way before the advent of agriculture. There were several studies of that, and he's like, well, it doesn't matter because blah blah blah. Well, okay, so go pre-agriculture. Okay, the plant foods, the soil, the animals, most of which are extinct now, all that's different. So what really matters is the last, 100, 200 years. The soil's been depleted of the microbes. The animals are totally different. The plants are totally different. Look at wheat from even 10,000 years ago when agriculture started versus wheat today. You had a 5-foot tall plant with very little that they could harvest off of it, versus today a couple of feet tall that they harvest just for abundance and to get as much as they can and be able to do it again and do it again to feed people and really harm the health, in my opinion. But anyway, don't know how I got off on that, but Donna, thank you for the question. Malia is in the house, and Malia is my neighbor. She lives real close to me. I remember you commenting real early on in one of my videos about that you thought you saw me in the grocery store. So, so you're real close. I appreciate you being here. Great. Thank you so much. Hey, Daryl from Ottawa, Canada. I appreciate you being here. I'm real excited for you guys up in Canada. I've gotten a lot of viewers from Canada over the last 6-8 months. Australia, New Zealand. You guys really seem to care about your health. And unfortunately, some of the products, like in Canada, I know allulose is like almost impossible to get, which is, crazy to me, because it seems like you guys really care about what people are doing. You care about the health of your citizens and things a whole lot more than we do. It doesn't seem like that the big food companies are in the pockets of the politicians up there and, like they are here. But at the same time, there's been so many studies done on allulose and how it lowers blood sugar in the body and all these things, and you guys still can't get it up there. So hopefully y'all can soon. But yeah, I appreciate you watching, and glad you're more concerned about your health than than a lot of us are. So Sherry's in the house tonight. Hey, Sherry, welcome. And Delilah. Hey there, Delilah. What's it like in New York City? Stan is in the house. Hey, Stan. Lynn says, appreciate all the knowledge you share with us, Victor, and all the wonderful recipes, of course. Yum. So this is something I care a lot about. So my recipe videos are just kind of a way, and in the beginning, I was trying to be real serious about it and everything. But, over time, I'm like, man, this is just cooking. It's just an alternative, hopefully, for people to have some better food, some better choices. Like if you like chicken Alfredo from Olive Garden, maybe I can bring something to the table that's a little healthier. And I just want to have fun with it. That's my fun. I love getting in the kitchen, creating stuff. But this is the heart of what I do right here. The health of people is really, really important to me. That's why it pisses me off so bad when people that have supposedly cared about people's health for so long are getting into this sugar diet crap. I guess I've been around long enough to have seen a lot of these trends come and go. This sugar diet thing that's going on right now, I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen it on your feed. I tried to cover it. I just saw today Dr. Berry has done a video on it too, which is even more sarcastic than mine. So if y'all hadn't seen that, I was laughing about that. That was great. Check out Dr. Berry's video. But it's one of those things that I've seen over the years. I mean, we've seen so many weight loss drugs come and go. And I'm probably showing my age, but I mean, back in the 80s, there was a nasal decongestant. I can't remember the name of it, but they were using that for weight loss. The 90s, they had like Fen-Phen that they finally showed caused heart attacks and hemorrhagic strokes and all kind of things. And They had the ollie thing that you could, they'd fry chips in this ollie stuff and basically go right through you. And that's been proven to be one of the worst inventions of all time. And then now the GLP-1 drugs. And anytime that's happened, all the real food and the real ways of eating have kind of gone downhill. Like keto, and I'm even thinking about changing the name of my channel to get more people, because some people will see keto and they're like, oh, I'm not interested. But like if you were telling them, hey, this is a way you can reverse diabetes or whatever, they'd be a little more interested. But they hear keto and it's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. So I'm kind of up in the air about what to do about that, because I was looking at some trends the other day, and keto as a search term peaked in 2019 and 2020, of course, with everything that was going on then. People sitting at home and gaining a lot of weight, trying to figure out a natural way to do it. And then now this easy way has come out that you can lose weight without doing anything. You can eat whatever you want. You're just not going to be hungry, but you can, once you get hungry, you can eat, a dozen Reese's peanut butter cups and you're going to be fine. Well, there's so many problems with that. You're not getting the nutrition that you need. These things are causing nausea, vomiting, hypoglycemia. Like I was talking about in the sugar video, hypoglycemia is a real thing. And I don't know if you saw my post the other day, but Sharon Osbourne is now going to sue one of the GLP-1 manufacturers about gastroparesis. She is to the point where she got off of it because she had lost all the weight, which I didn't think she looked bad anyway, but she lost all the weight she needed to lose. And now that she's off of it, she can't gain weight back, and she's still losing weight even though she doesn't want to. So there's side effects to these things that are unreal. Being able to talk to some of these doctors and things now that I do, it's a lot of the stuff's behind the scenes that is not going to come out. But once the celebrities start talking about it, it becomes a thing. So, we're going to see this coming up real soon. And it's just, I've seen so many cycles of this, but this sugar diet is just ridiculous, guys. If if y'all hadn't seen the short or the video I did about it, that's really what's going on. You want to put something in your body, which is it's the reason that a lot of us got in the shape that we got in to begin with. Sugar, pasta, rice, bagels, bread, cereals. That's what got us all in the condition we're in, or were in, for a lot of us, and a lot of us are still trying to climb out of. It caused a lot of type 2 diabetes. It's just, and a lot of the influencers and people that made videos, talking about how good keto and low carb is. And, there's been more studies done on keto and the low carb diet than any diet out there. Mediterranean's always talked about, that's what the media wants to push, which still going to contain some grains and stuff. There's a way to do that, in a healthier way, without the grains and things. Olive oil is one of the best things in the world for you. But there's so much talk about that, but there hasn't been anything studied more than the low carb diet. And until the science proves otherwise, I'm sticking with that. I don't need crash diets. I don't need yo-yo diets. That stuff's gone on for years, and I'm sure y'all have seen it. I'm sure you've experienced it. I'm sure you've done it. And sure, if your goal is to lose 10 pounds real quick, great. That can do it. But is your long-term health worth that? No, not to me. It's not. Anyway, that's what's going on right now. If y'all haven't seen it, don't even look it up. Don't give these people the time of day. I hate to talk bad about any influencer, but when it comes to something like this, where you're messing with people's lives, and I feel like when you have a platform like this and you're talking to a bunch of people, you've got a responsibility to those people. And the whole thing started, I remember back in the 90s when I was doing personal training. So we trained a lot of bodybuilders. I was a part of a great organization, and we helped a lot of people the best we could. And we're kind of doing keto before keto was cool. Dr. Atkins, his new diet revolution had just come out, which we kind of looked at. But there was not a big push back then, but not as big. We were kind of more 70s bodybuilder type things. But when you train bodybuilders, one thing about bodybuilders is they live, eat, and breathe the gym. So they're eating 5-6 times a day, as much protein as possible. And then there's what's called the bulking phase. In the bulking phase, you're doing a lot of maltodextrin, you're doing a lot of sugar. They're even injecting insulin to get sugar into the muscles to use for fuel, to fuel these 4, 5, 6 hour workouts. Well, when you go into the cutting phase, then you cut all that out, but then you can take a few days where you do very little protein, very little fat, which, bodybuilders don't do a whole lot of fat anyway. But then you go in and you eat as much sugar as you can, and just bringing in that insulin is going to help burn off things. So, a bodybuilder getting ready for a competition, of course, they're using performance enhancing stuff. I mean, there's, they say they're not, but there's ways around that. Believe me. Clenbuterol. There's several things that they would use to cut and get all the water out of the body, and also eat a lot of sugar to, basically you were putting the glycogen inside the muscles to fuel the workouts. But then once you cut the protein and fat down, you could put it back in and you use that for fuel real fast, and there was nothing to draw from. So you'd be able to cut down real fast, along with the drugs they were taking, of course. So, for somebody working out 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and, by the way, the average life of a professional bodybuilder, their average lifespan is 58, 59 years old. You can look at some of the former Mr. Olympias. Look at Ronnie Coleman. If you ever want to see a great example, this guy looked like the epitome of health. If you could, think of a Roman statue, a guy that was just built, I mean, perfect. The guy can't walk down the steps now. And of course, he's a mere shadow of what he used to be. I mean, he was huge. Now he can't walk down the stairs anymore. He has pain, has to inject things just to be able to move. It's just not a healthy thing. And it just got all over me when I started seeing that on my feed, and especially some people in this community that supposedly cared about people's health, and I don't care what their CGM monitor is. I could care less about that. They're not type 2 diabetic. They're not trying to reverse any health conditions. A lot of people that come to this diet come to it for that very reason. They want to reverse health conditions. It just rubs me the wrong way. And I think as somebody with influence, you've got a responsibility to people. And I always try to follow the science, and science is always moving, right? It's never static. Science is as good as science is until something proves it wrong. And then if I get proven wrong about this, then I'll admit to it and I'll go a different way. If the science showed that eating sugar was the way to go, it was the healthiest thing for you, eating fruit all day long and a little protein meal at night was the best thing for you, I would accept that. Not initially, because I know better, and the common sense part of me is like, no, something's wrong. Let me dig more into it and see who's funding this study. But if there were hundreds of studies like there are with the keto diet that prove that was the way, then I would admit I'm wrong, and I'll probably get off YouTube, okay? Because I can't, in good conscience, tell people to do that. So anyway, sorry for the rant. Anyway, let me move down. I apologize, but that just fired me up this week. I mean, there's a lot of things that fire me up, but there's not much that fires me up more than giving people the absolute wrong advice, especially when you say that you care about people's health. Great to now know you're loaded with knowledge. One reason I enjoy watching you. Well, thank you, Dalal. And a lot of the stuff, I mean, I started studying these things 25 years ago. So a lot of the stuff I'm relearning again now, because, Some of the things I've been out of for a long time, but one of the cool things, and like the series I'm coming up with now, and I just did the video on it, if y'all didn't see it, about the reason you may be failing on your keto or carnivore diet, is all about gut health. And that's something that, 25 years ago, like in the herbal community, we were talking about it, but we weren't quite there. We were thinking that most of it was because of fungal overgrowth. We were talking about candida. We were doing candida cleanses. And the thing is that's really a smaller population of people. And now the research is being done, and Dr. William Davis is who I'm referencing in this whole series. If y'all have done the L-Reuteri or seen that L-Reuteri yogurt video, I'm using his protocol for this 4-week series that I'm doing on how to heal your gut, because I see a lot of people, even a lot of people that create content. I mean, one guy is getting totally off the carnivore diet because it's not working for him. And when I listen to him, I don't get a chance to watch a lot of videos anymore. But when I'm listening to him, I'm like, man, your gut's messed up. That's, you're not able, because of, lifestyle, because of antibiotics that you've taken over the years, because of so many processed foods, just a total improper diet, the total amount of weight gain that there was. You gotta replace all that to be able to even take in the nutrients efficiently that the protein provides. And if you're not getting any plant foods, you're not getting any fiber to feed that microbiome, it's not going to work. There's only a certain percentage of protein that converts to amino acids to go into the muscles. The rest of it's converted to sugar. And if you don't have a way to assimilate that in the body because your gut microbiome is so messed up, you can't get the vitamins and minerals that you need, and your body is still not going to get in the state that it wants to be, because the body's got two main missions: to preserve itself, to not die basically, and to get into homeostasis, which is basically an even level. So that's why I say, once you heal a lot of conditions and things, your body's going to find its right weight. Okay. You can't go by the charts. You can't go by, saying that somebody that's 5'11" should be 170 pounds. Well, that may be true for some people. It may be 190 for other people. It may be 155 for other people. But those are the two bodies' main functions. And when your gut the microbiome has been depleted to the levels that a lot of them have, especially if you do an elimination diet, you're going to kill off the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. But a lot of the good bacteria that needs the prebiotic fibers from salads, some starchy but low-carb vegetables, or even some starchy, higher carb vegetables for people that don't have type 2 diabetes or have a bad metabolism. If you don't have that, and if you don't give that microbiome something to feed off of, there's going to be issues, and your body's going to do all it can to preserve itself. So, but yeah, thank you, Delilah. Yeah, there's so much crazy stuff going on with the sugar diet. Hey there, Brenda from Louisville. Daryl had to drive to New York to get allulose. Daryl, I wonder if there's like a transnational allulose trafficking network. I was wondering about that. One lady told me one time that she came and filled up her whole trunk with allulose and drove back across. And I'm like, are you reselling it, or what's going on here? So, and you're in Nova Scotia too. So, Amy, it is amazing the things that people will come up with. And look, and it's not their fault. There are billions and billions of dollars behind this campaign of pushing sugar, pushing cereal, pushing oatmeal. I made a post earlier today about, this is all the same. It doesn't matter if it's a soda or it's oatmeal. Your body's going to see it the same once it breaks it down into sugar. Obviously there's fiber in oatmeal, but you can take oat fiber and make things with that without, the rest of it. But, yeah, allulose has been shown to lower blood sugar. Tell me sugar long term has been shown to lower blood sugar. I mean, I haven't seen that study yet, but I'm looking for it. I always get notifications. I've got the Journal of the American Medical Association, the New England Journal of Medicine. I get notifications anytime there's new studies and stuff that come out, and I always look through them just to see if there's anything relevant that I need to know. And so I've missed that one. Maybe it's out there, but I think I missed it. So, hey, Carrie, welcome to you. Yeah, Brenda. Yeah, Wes. I think that was when he did the chaffle recipe, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he didn't have a yellow bowl, so it could have tasted better than what he said if he had the yellow bowl. So, I mean, old Yeller makes a big difference, y'all. I'm telling you. Hey, Donnie. Yes, thank you for sharing that that video Dr. Barry did. I saw it this morning, and I mean, that is, Dr. Barry does sarcasm better than I do, and y'all need to watch that. That was the most sarcastic and awesome video that I've seen from him to date. So y'all make sure you check that out. That was really cool. Amy is in the house. Hey, Amy. Appreciate you being here. Cheryl, listen, Cheryl says, I can't afford to do more to support you. You do great and provide a community for us. And what you can do to support me is share these videos. If you find somebody that you think they could help, share it with them. Like my videos. If you order something from Amazon, go to my link on there. I get a small commission off of anything you order. It doesn't have to be anything I suggest, and it doesn't cost you any more money. But go to my Amazon store. If you're going to buy anything, click on that and go to Amazon. And every little bit adds up. So I don't ask anybody to support me as far as money goes, but I really, really appreciate those of you that do. But the best support I can get is to share this with people that it would help. And thumbs up, likes, shares, all that stuff happens. And all that stuff really helps with YouTube and their algorithm and pushing it out. I mean, I started out with nothing. I started out with 2 people watching, and it's evolved into over 65,000 now. And I'm really I really take it to heart as trying to really give you the best information I possibly can. I don't put anything out without researching it, whether it's a product that I promote or information that I put out there. I do a lot of research. A lot of people will sit on the couch on Saturday and watch Netflix all day. I'm sitting on my phone researching things, reading books. I'm a book freak, so I'm rereading Dr. Davis's book for about the 3rd time to prep for this series that I'm doing over the next 4 weeks to hopefully help a lot of you that are having some problems. But that's been a dream of mine for a long time. For a long time, my dream was to open a wellness clinic and have like a chiropractor in there. I would be the herbalist and holistic health guy. I would have, a yoga teacher maybe, or, just a total thing. Well, now my mission has kind of changed. I want to try to help as many people as I can here, for free. Cause I mean, if you got a wellness clinic, you might be able to spend the right amount of time with somebody to really know, as a holistic health practitioner. I mean, you've got a 10-page document that you fill out because you need to know their whole medical history. Medications are taken, so that if you suggest herbs to take, what kind of interactions there are. You need to know the full medical history, any problems they have that the doctors don't know about. There's just so many things you need to know. So really, if you work 12 hours a day, to spend the right amount of time with somebody, you could maybe see 12 people a day and then refer them to your chiropractor or refer them to other things that might help them a little more. But with this platform, I mean, it is awesome. I mean, the time we're living in is just amazing. So, I can help people a whole lot better through this, I feel like. Now, I can't spend the personal attention, but I always try to do my best to tell you, like, hey, if you're going to take this supplement I suggest, make sure you look it up and make sure it's not going to interfere with any other supplements you take. Where if I was spending the hour with the person, I'd go through that myself and say, look, you can do this, you can't do this. Maybe you combine this with something else. Maybe you talk to your doctor about getting off this. So I try to do as best I can to kind of break everything down. But yeah, your support is supporting me, watching the videos, commenting and liking the videos. And that is, that's plenty. I'm here to do that. I'm here to help as much as I can. And just you being here is a great support. So I appreciate that. And Carrie always has a good joke here. So what do you call a vanilla pudding with a great sense of humor? A cuss. I almost can't say it not right. A custodian of laughter. So, sometimes it amazes me how many people jump on these crazy trends that are supposed to be great for you. Yeah, and I don't know what some of these people's intentions are, but people have sent me videos, and I'm really surprised at who's doing them, because I've been really happy about a lot of the things that they've done and kind of branching out a little bit from just keto. Because like I said, as this GLP-1 drug goes up, the searches for a good healthy diet are going to go down until it's proven that the drugs are no good for you. And I've got natural ways that you can improve your body's GLP-1. I've got my video I've done. I've got a protocol that I've been testing out that's absolutely phenomenal. Shannon introduced me to that she was on last week, and I'm going to be rolling that out soon. I am super excited about that. That's even better than what I've got, because it's a patented formula that I can't replicate. So if I could, I'd show you how to make it, but I can't. It's better than what I've got, and a lot of people have had a lot of great success. If you go back and see the Ozempic video that I did, the natural Ozempic, I mean, there's some great comments on there. I've got emails about that. This helping people to intermittent fast, and not everybody's going to do low carb and keto, and so I really wanted to come up with something that would help the people that are not as well, and then maybe it would help them transition to a lower carb diet at the very least, a low carb diet at best. And so anyway, that's going to do that. That is doing that for a lot of people. I mean, the science is incredible on it. Ben Bickman's on the science board for that, if y'all know who he is. Jason Fung has talked about. I mean, it's an awesome thing, and I'm glad to be on board with that. But I'll be rolling that out soon. I'm still trying to learn all the ins and outs of it, and I've got several people testing it out too, and there's a lot of good stuff going on with that too. So Connie easily in the house. Well, hey there, you're a half hour from me, so I used to work in Easley, so that's awesome. Yeah, and yeah, Sharon Osbourne looks absolutely terrible. So Donna says, I can eat a couple dozen Reese's Cups in one sitting. Of course, I sleep for 3 days after that. My blood sugar goes so high. Yes. Dustin, I would say you are awesome, my friend, and I can't wait for our next Keto Crusade. If y'all don't know Dustin at Keto Simple, Dustin has got some awesome videos. He's been in this a whole lot longer than I have as far as low carb. I don't know if you have done your baby formula video or not yet, but that's one that I am excited for. If you have, then I've missed it, and I apologize for that. But send me a link so I can watch it, because I'm really excited about that. That's one of the things that has happened over the years with especially the microbiome and things. There's a lot of things that are passed down from mother to child. One of them is Bacillolactis infantis, which is a basically a probiotic. It's a microbe in the body. But if the mother uh, loses that through like antibiotics, bad diet, or whatever, she can't pass it down to the child. But it can be reintroduced to her, so that if she does breastfeed, that it can be passed down to the baby. But there's so many bad things going on over the years with baby formula. When it was introduced into other countries, it's just a whole bad thing. But anyway, he's been doing some research on that, and I'm excited about that. So, but Dustin, thank you for your super chat, and you're awesome. And Dustin also says one thing for us to talk day in, day out won't bring national attention. It's going to take a sharing, yeah. And she's only the first. There'll be a whole lot more coming. You can look at some of these pictures of celebrities. I know if you're on social media at all, you see a lot of the pictures of these people, and you're like, man, what happened to them? And that's what happened. And the side effects are, this is still relatively new for weight loss and being broadly available to the masses. And just wait. I've said this from the beginning. It's probably going to be the biggest class action lawsuit in the history of the country. And you're going to see a commercial one day. If you or your family has blah, 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 call. That's what it's going to be. I'm just telling you, it is not a good thing. Gastroparesis is not anything natural. Losing your metabolism is not natural. You need an efficient metabolism. You don't need a fast metabolism. You need an efficient metabolism. And people losing that, it's just wait. People just want magic to happen. Use your brains for a healthier life. Think for a change. Just saying. Yeah, and this is it's one of the sugar diet guys. I won't even look at it. I don't need to look at it. I've heard the name several times, but I've also seen this before. So, like I said, I'm showing my age, but with age comes, the ability to see cycles and things that happen over and over and over. I'm not a fortune teller, but I am a historian. The things that happen in the past will determine the future, and this has happened so many times. I mean, I'm sure most of y'all are not young enough to remember a lot of the stuff I talked about earlier with a lot of the weight loss drugs and all that, but this is just another one. It's a cycle. Same with economies and nations, and everything works in cycles. Nature works in cycles. Civilizations work in cycles. So it's one of those things. Thanks to you and some of the other YouTubers for finding ways to replace all those breads and bagels and chips and Cheetos. If you have the yo-yo diet, you can walk the dog or go around the world. Sounds like you were a yo-yoer at one time. I tried. I was never good with those. But what was cool when I was growing up, we had one that was on a string, and it had like I don't know how it worked, but it wound up inside. It was like a little plastic ball, and it had some kind of spring or something in it where you could yo-yo it and it would pop up on its own. That was the best thing in the world, because I could do all the tricks with that, and I didn't have to really know the skill of how to wind it back up the way it was. So that was great for me. Second problem is I'm high risk for breast cancer and colorectal cancer. Everybody knows sugar feeds cancer. I can't see how fasting for sugar would be good for me, and it won't. It definitely won't be. And that's the part nobody's, and I haven't even talked about that part of it, because there's so many other reasons that it's bad. I mean, number one is the addiction thing. I mean, a lot of people have worked so hard to break the addiction to sugar, and then you go and eat sugar, all that comes rushing back. I mean, that's why I started all the low carb desserts and stuff, those recipes that I do. which I still eat to this day. Now, could I be addicted to that? Maybe. Is it going to affect me like sugar? Absolutely not. Um, you know, it's one of the things, like, you know, we're in the modern world here. We're not in the, you know, hunter gatherer age anymore. We've got all this crap being thrown at us in every direction. You can go to the gas station and you're bombarded with stuff that you could just pick up and eat real quick. If you can plan just a little bit better and make some of these things and have them on hand, even even beef sticks, beef jerky, stuff like that. I mean, you can go to the gas station and there's one that might be decent. The rest of them are crap and got crap ingredients. So it's just, you know, the whole addiction thing that a lot of people have worked so hard to beat, that's going to feed right back into it. And that's, to me, set the cancer and everything aside. You get addicted to sugar again, you get addicted to that whole thing. It's going to feed the cancer, it's going to feed everything, but it may be harder to stop the next time around. You know, I don't have a problem with fruit. If you're, you know, if you can handle fruit, type 2 diabetics, I would say probably not until you've reversed your type 2 diabetes. But if you're eating fruit, not the high sugar fruits, but say you're eating berry. I eat berries all the time. I eat watermelon, I eat cantaloupe. You know, I'll do a little bit of an apple every once in a while, but the higher fiber fruits, if you're not type 2 diabetic, you know, and you eat it with meals. That's the key. Is you don't want to snack in between meals no matter what. That's my opinion. That just raises insulin. That's what you don't want, whether you're trying to be healthy or you're trying to lose weight or whatever the case may be. But if you eat a little bit of that with a meal, that helps kind of buffer it. And, you know, everybody's different. Do your own research for your own body. I always say that, but, you know, that helps. I'm not opposed to fruit, but eating fruit all day long, absolutely not. I mean, you know, it's just not good. It's not going to end up well. Like I said, I'm not I'm not a fortune teller, but I'm a historian. Just look for that in the coming months that, oh, I probably shouldn't have done this diet. Okay. That's a coming video from a lot of these people. Anyway, we'll get off that. Also, I have several bodybuilder friends. One's a bikini model, or a bikini bodybuilder. She admitted to me she does some pretty bad things like smoking cigarettes to cut and lose weight. Yeah. I mean, then, you know, that was a bad scene. I'm just telling you, um, the things that you would do to your body for competitions, injecting insulin, injecting hormones, you know, testosterone, D-ball, anadrol, you know, clenbuterol to cut down. I mean, the things that you would do for that, it would blow your mind if you knew what these guys were really doing. And then they'd have to take a ton of pain pills at night just to get through the pain of the joints. And it's a bad scene. Yep, absolutely. And he's not the only one. I mean, that was the example, because he was, I think, behind it. And it's been a while since I've been in this scene, and I'm honestly glad I got out of it, because it's not a healthy scene to be a part of. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't ever a huge guy. I was in great shape. Um, but I was never going to be one of those guys like that. I mean, you got the genetics, you got all the things that they take to get to that level, and the commitment to be able to spend, you know, 5-6 hours in the gym and basically commit your whole life to it. I wasn't about that. But I think behind Schwarzenegger, he was the guy that won the Mr. Olympia the most. I think he actually passed Schwarzenegger towards the end of his career, if I remember right. If not, but he was a multi-time Mr. Olympia, and now it's just so sad what happened to him. But Smash the thumbs up. Yes, thank you, Dustin. Thank you so much for your support, brother. I'm excited for our keto crusade this month too. So, Darth Carnivore, that is a fantastic question. I wonder why sugar diet videos all of a sudden are popping up on our YouTube feeds. Well, the reason I think it's happening right now is because a lot of keto people, which people have sent me videos like, I can't believe such and such is doing this video. And because a lot of the people we've watched in the past, or that you may have watched in the past, are making videos about this and just not. And look, I know a lot of people don't do this, don't have a background in health or anything like that. So, it may just be, well, I watched this video and it looked good, so I'm just going to share what I'm doing. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but I believe you really have an obligation to people to do better. If you're going to suggest this to somebody, you're going to say, oh, I'm doing this. Well, at least do your research into it, or at least think back to, well, at one time when I was eating a lot of sugar and carbs and all that, this is what was happening to me. I just say do better. Do better. If you're going to be on this platform and trying to, and you got people watching you, if you got some of the people they have twice as many people watching as I do. And I'm just trying, my whole thing here is to try to educate, have fun at the same time, come up with some crazy recipes, some 3-ingredient bagels or whatever that might help you not go back to eating all this sugar and crap. And then people are following along with this and saying, oh, well, they're eating sugar, that must be fine for me. Well, look at some of these people. Are they working out 2-3 hours a day, or even an hour a day, and you're not? Well, then maybe it ain't the right thing, and it's not going to be the right thing for them either. I don't care how much you work out. I don't care what it is. It's going to catch up. So that's my fortune teller side right there. So, Ms. Iris hello there. Wow, I'm way behind on comments, y'all. I apologize. Amy, I know you do. You do good work. You can look at your before and after pictures, and I can tell that you care about your health, and that you care about what you're doing. And so I know you know. So, yep. Dustin said, because it is a viral topic. I enjoy working out, but definitely do not go overboard. Walking is my favorite. Walk 2 to 4 miles about 5-6 times a week. Strength train 3 to 4 times a week. Heaviest weight 8 to 10 pounds works for me. That's perfect. I am ready to get back in the gym. It's been a while. I do pretty physical work, but there's just something to me about going in the gym and doing that, but not going in there and eating sugar and doing it. Going in there and doing it the right way, lifting heavy stuff, walking outside. That's what I like to do. I like hiking. Just find, if you want to do some exercise. Exercise is great for a ton of stuff. It ain't great for weight loss. It's hard to walk off. You see somebody walking on the treadmill for an hour, burning 200-300 calories, so they can have some cream puffs or something later. It ain't worth it, right? The diet's 95% of it. The weight training, the other biohacks and things like that are a part of it as well. Getting your metabolism right, getting your gut right, first of all, is probably more important than the diet, because if you don't have the gut microbiome to be able to assimilate all the nutrients and take in the protein to put into the muscle, then you're really in bad shape, and it's really just not going to work. So that's probably the number one most important thing. But even if that's not completely right, you can still lose weight and everything like that with diet. You may come to a stall point, and then that's when you might need to relook at your gut health and everything. But like I said, I'm real excited about this series I got coming up on that, and I'm going through Dr. Davis's protocol on that to show you how to fix that. And a lot of you that are stalled, a lot of you that haven't been able to lose weight, if that's your goal, or reverse some health conditions and things like that, there is some rich information in this. I've been researching it a lot. I'd recommend definitely picking up Dr. Davis's book, Super Gut. I've talked to him, and he's going to be on one of these lives, or either I'm going to do an interview with him, or he's going to do an interview with me, or something like that coming up. We haven't quite worked out all the details, but I'm just telling you that is the medicine of the future. We've been touching on it for years and years and years. And if you saw my video the other day about if your carnivore keto diet isn't working, and you saw the graph in there about how many studies have come out talking about the gut microbiome. I mean, there was nothing up until a few years ago, and now it's trending up like this. And they're now realizing how very important that is. It's kind of like mind-body medicine 20 years ago. People thought the mind and the body were just totally disconnected. And then they figured out that they really are connected. Now that association has gone on to include the gut too. So some really exciting stuff coming. Some really groundbreaking studies going on right now. I'm excited to share that with you too. So it's a good time. It's a good time to be alive, and it's a good time to be eating the right thing and not taking the GLP-1 drugs, the injections anyway. Like I said, there's ways to boost your GLP-1 naturally, which is great, but gastroparesis is not what you want. That's probably not a good idea, because they're going to be proven wrong. So I didn't take the time to go into the comments. Maybe I should, but I spoke my piece in about 50 seconds on my little video, and that's really all the time I want to devote to it, because I'm not going to get in the weeds about something that's just insane to begin with. So, and I don't want to bring any more attention to the guys promoting it. So, yep, good. Don't even don't even give them any more views. Ms. Iris is taking probiotics and digestive enzymes. So that is a great start, and I'll explain. I'll explain in this series kind of why probiotics are not the best. You're talking about a probiotic, a good probiotic, and number one, you don't know what microbes are in most of them, because most of them don't list it. It's kind of a haphazard tossed together. This one might have Lactobacillus reuteri, most likely not. This one might have Staphylococcus. This might have, different ones thrown in, but you really don't know what they are. You don't know what benefits they have to you. And once you take the making of the pill, the way it's stored, it could be in a hot warehouse, which is going to kill off some of the bacteria and the microbes. It could have been on a 110-degree truck driving through, which kills off more. It gets to the vitamin shop, sits in the box in the back for however many days until they unload it. Then they stick it in the fridge, right? So of those 2 billion microbes or CFUs that are in it, you may only have a tenth of that. So, even if you have the full 2 billion versus taking that, making it into a yogurt or a cultured dairy, because it technically doesn't have the right strains in it to be called a yogurt, then you're talking about 200 billion microbes in there versus 2 billion if it was made correctly, stored correctly the entire time, and it survives all the way through, because of the process, it survives all the way through your stomach acid and everything. So you're talking about a huge difference in taking a probiotic and making a cultured dairy product out of it that's going to have 100 times the benefit, because we've lost so much. But yeah, you're definitely on the right track there. But again, that's one of the things that hasn't been talked about nearly enough. And you know, the storage of it is a big deal. And anyway, we'll talk more about that. My first video in that series come out Tuesday. So working so hard on fixing my gut is such a process. Can't wait till I get into a good place with my gut. Yep, absolutely. Dustin, that is a great question. So if a person is on the carnivore diet, can't have a healthy gut microbiome. This is my opinion, and when Dr. Davis is on, that is one of the things we're going to talk about. So I believe on a carnivore diet, because you are restricting, basically there's no fiber in there because you're not eating any plant foods, right? So in order for your gut microbiome to thrive, you've got to have prebiotic fibers. You can get those a couple different ways. Now you can do fermented. So if you're carnivore, you could do like a yogurt, like a lactobacillus yogurt. None of the stuff in the store is going to do any good. But what happens is when you restrict everything, you don't have any prebiotic fiber, which that's what actually feeds the gut microbiome. You're going to kill off all of the bad things in the gut, but also a lot of the good things in the gut. And so that's why I think a lot of people on carnivore will talk about in a lot of the groups, and like, Chris is really open-minded about stuff like this, and that's why, and all of us, we kind of all talk about this kind of stuff. But so if you kill off all of the good and the bad bacteria in your gut, then of course, if you eat a little bit of spinach and you don't have that lactobacillus oxalis, which is the microbe that can actually digest oxalates, you may have some problems. So if you think about oxalates, if that were truly a problem, right? Wouldn't vegans have a higher incidence of kidney stones and problems with oxalates than anybody? But somehow that's just not the case. It's like people in the carnivore community are talking about, oh, well, I've got, crystals popping out of my skin, all these things. Well, that's a totally different reaction. And that's because, oxalate dumping has never been proven in any study. It's all basically, it's come from a couple people that have talked about this, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, that's got to be it. That's what's going on. Well, that's not it. It's not a diet issue. It's a gut issue, because you have lost, through, it's nobody's fault. If you've taken a round of antibiotics, you could have lost all the good gut bacteria. If you've been on birth control pills, not you, Dustin, maybe, hopefully not. But if you've been on birth control pills, if you've eaten a highly processed food diet with a lot of sugar and stuff, all that stuff can kill off the gut microbiome. But when you go to a strict elimination diet, no matter what it is, it could be the fruitarian diet, the sugar diet, right? Where you eliminate everything. Well, if you don't have the right prebiotic fibers and things to build the gut microbiome, then there's a great chance that you've lost all that. And that could be why some people are stalling on the carnivore diet, not able to lose weight on the carnivore diet. We've talked about this, and Dr. Davis is a big proponent. He talks about it in Super Gut. Matter of fact, before carnivore got as big as it is right now, and I'm sure you've seen it as well. Like, some people have said, well, I've had this diarrhea, or I've had this constipation, or I've had this, and I had to add some carbs in. Well, with a lot of the carbs comes the fiber, and that is what's helping a little bit, and it could be a lot better. But there's ways to be on a carnivore diet and still build your gut. Fermented foods, some like some of the cured sausages and things like that have some of those benefits. I guess you could consider it dirty carnivore if you had some sauerkraut or some kimchi or something like that. That'd be a dirty carnivore. But You could add that in, but like a yogurt, the lactobacillus or a L. reuteri yogurt, or a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth yogurt, like I'm going to show you how to make and coming up. Um, that could probably fix a lot of the problems I see. And I scroll through these groups and I'm like, man, that's a gut issue. That's a gut issue. That's a gut issue. So I was under the assumption the gut biome adapts to what you eat over time. No, because if even for example, just the example I just gave of the Lactobacillus oxalius, I think it's called. That one is directly responsible for the digestion of oxalates. Now, there's a couple other microbes too that can come together to do that if you've lost it. But if you've lost all of it, no. And yeah, when Dr. Davis comes on, that's what we're going to specifically talk about, is how to do it on keto and carnivore. And a lot of people unknowingly do that, but that's why. Another reason, like when people introduce salads back in, for example, like if you hadn't been doing salads for a while and you introduce that back in, a lot of times that'll break a stall. I know, several people in the keto group on Facebook, in the private group, have done that. And I've said, hey, try this for just a couple weeks and see what happens. And like, oh, well, sure enough, these problems are gone. Well, that's one of the things. But yeah, I'm gonna go a lot deeper into it than that over the next few weeks. But that could be a huge problem for a lot of people. Why isn't allulose sold in other countries? I really don't know. Some of my friends in Canada have said that that the government just prohibits it. Now, why that is, I really don't know. But think anyone could get a messed up gut microbiome after I've been strict keto for years and took an antibiotic and was messed up for several years. Yep. And see, so I had to take an antibiotic. We took a trip and I got an infection, so I had to take an antibiotic for it. Well, so I was having some issues, and so I had just found Dr. Davis's book and I read that, and I'm like, okay, so there's a device called the Air 2 device, and you can buy it. I don't have an affiliate link for it or anything. I don't even think they have affiliates. You can't save any money on it, but you can order it on their website. They don't even sell it on Amazon. But it's called the Air 2 unit, AIRE 2. And basically it measures the amount of hydrogen in your breath. And that's the way you can see that if you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or not. And so basically what you do is you breathe into this machine and you kind of get a baseline. Then you're going to take a couple teaspoons of inulin or another prebiotic fiber, and then you'll go back in an hour and test your breath again. And then you'll test your breath again. So my baseline after this round of antibiotics started at a 2.2, I think it was. I'll put all this in the video. I took pictures of everything so I could kind of document it. After I did the inulin, because basically what happens is when you take a prebiotic fiber, the way your gut metabolizes it will let you know if you have a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or not. So if it's anywhere double to triple your starting number, there's a real good chance that you've got a bacterial overgrowth, which means basically that all your good bacteria has been overtaken in your body by bad bacteria. And so I think mine was a 2.1, 2.2, somewhere around there. After I did that, after 2 hours, it was at a 6 point something. So I definitely had that issue. Well, I went on that 4-week protocol of his, and I mean, I was still eating the same way, but it went back down to a 2.3 after that period of time. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You can buy that device. I just wanted to buy it for the video just to show everybody what happened. I knew something was wrong, and I assumed that was what it was. And I was assuming fungal overgrowth, because that's really what I had learned over the years with Candida albicans and things like that, was a fungal overgrowth. And by reading that book, I learned a lot more about the bacterial overgrowth and things, and the killing of the gut microbiome, particularly with keto and carnivore. Um, and so I just want to document that whole thing. And I mean, everything's great now. I have no more issues, and it was fantastic. So that's why I decided to do the whole series about it, because I think a lot of people were struggling with it, and the antibiotics is what did it for me. But it could have been a little before, because sometimes I'll do, I'll go like a week without, I'll just eat beef, bacon, butter, eggs for a week or whatever. Sometimes just to change it up, because I always say mix it up. And sometimes I just like easy like that. But I mean, it's really some fascinating science. And oh, hey there, Cindy. And if y'all haven't seen, I got to meet Cindy. She was on her way back from vacation, back up to Kentucky, and so I met her for breakfast. And she and her husband gave me this awesome cutting board, and I posted it on my channel. But yeah, and they sell all that kind of stuff. If y'all didn't know, CindyTheMatch.com. If you see her in the chat here, I mean, they sell some awesome custom stuff, and that's going to be on my videos. I can't cut anything on it because I'll be cutting my face up, but I mean, it was just awesome and just so sweet. And she's the nicest person, and so is he. And just great people, and enjoyed meeting them, and hope we can do it again sometime. Yeah, Allulose is not legal in Canada or Australia, and I'd love to know why. Yeah, I'd love to know why, because the studies have shown this great stuff. Wow, that's all I can say about that. Yep, absolutely right. One of the best recipes on the American Diabetes Association's website is the apple pie. Yeah, full of sugar, and apples full of sugar. So just always follow the money. Follow where the funding's coming from, and you'll know what the intention is there. Speaking of limitations, I had salsa on my eggs, made my knuckles stiff and sore, so tomatoes are out for me. That's another thing I'm going to cover in this too. There's, the FODMAP diet thing. So, tomatoes, the nightshades, and things like that. So, kind of like anything else, is eliminating those vegetables taking care of the root of the problem? Or is taking care of the root of the problem going to make it where you can maybe eat some more of those vegetables? It's all about, it's kind of no different than doctors prescribing a medication for something and never getting to the root of the problem. It's going to mask the symptoms of it by you taking that out of your diet. Okay, well, maybe you don't have a reaction, but what's really going on, with the microbiome and things that's making that happen to you? So kind of digging a little bit deeper on that. And that's what I'm kind of getting into on that series. So that's a great comment there. Had cauliflower mash salad and leftover Victor meatloaf for supper. Yum. That sounds great. Had a ribeye, 2 pats of butter topped with 2 over medium eggs and 3 slices of bacon. Sounds great too. Whoa, what happened? There we go. Google says allulose is approved in the U.S., Japan, South Korea, Mexico, and Singapore. Canada and the EU classified as a novel food, so it has to have extra approval. Well, hopefully they'll get that extra approval and look at some of the studies that we've done. I know a lot of times, and rightly so, a lot of countries don't want to go by U.S. studies because they probably know who they're funded by, and the fact that they may not have the people's best interest in mind. So, I kind of understand their viewpoint on that, but at the same time, the studies done on this are pretty cut and dry. There's no funding from any allulose manufacturers, and obviously the sugar companies didn't have anything to do with it, or that the studies would have never come out. So hopefully they'll get that done soon. Just letting your bagel recipe is wonderful. I made it 3 times already. They got gobbled up. Awesome. Yeah, and I got a message last night that, and this is the first time I've seen her channel. I think some people have told me before, but Hope from, now I can't remember the name of the channel. Keto, y'all help me out down in the comments here. Anyway, she made the bagels, and so I commented and shared her video last night. So if you want to know what she thought about it, go on there. But her name is Hope. I got that right, at least. But she made those, and I thought it was pretty good. Just an easy recipe. Just, is it going to be as dense as a regular bagel? No, but can you put cream cheese on it and have yourself a knockoff bagel? Yep. And it's easy. So I think we should all go out and just start talking about the sugar diet being a hoax. Sooner or later, people will just start realizing that it is actually a hoax. I think, you could do that, or really my thing, I'm one and done with that video. I'm not going to bring any more attention to it. I think Dr. Berry spoke his piece. I doubt he'll do any more videos about it, and just let it die off as quick as it came. It's going to go away. Boy, that was a long time. So, John, John sounds like a sugar diet supporter. Boy, that was a long 10 minutes. I can finally comment. I thought I was already subscribed. Anyway, there's a lot of research that supports the benefits of sugar in the absence of fat. I'm not going to tell anybody to eat sugar. I'm sorry. I don't care what the research shows. As many people as I have coming here that are trying to reverse type 2 diabetes and trying to reverse health conditions, I'm not going to tell anybody to eat sugar. I'm going to say if your metabolism is in great shape, you're not type 2 diabetic, and you want to throw some fruit in, do it. The danger, nobody got in the bad condition that they're in probably because of eating too much fruit. It was the processed stuff. But if you eat fruit, you get addicted to that. It's kind of like what they've always said about gateway drugs, right? You get addicted to eating strawberries. Well, what's sweeter than that? How about a candy bar? And then some Ben and Jerry's ice cream, because it's not good enough to have, cheesecake and ice cream and chocolate separately. Let's throw it all together. And then, it just gets out of hand. So I think that carbs, especially processed carbs, are what's ruined a lot of people's health. So I'm glad Dr. Berry came out with a video he came out about that. So I know I'm not alone in it. I think he's got a lot more clout than I do. So I'm going to stick with Dr. Berry on that one. I did pipe mine, so they came out a lot more bagel shaped. That's cool. Yeah, I kind of just winged it and like press it down, everything like that. So, but yeah, I did do a 10-minute. I did do a 10-minute timer on this that you got to be able to be subscribed because of something that happened a couple weeks ago on the live with, some comments and things like that. So, yes, this is a great comment right here. Everybody, please go for Chris. He's currently in second place. So, yeah, Chris Cook in Nashville. If y'all will go on his page, he's got the link down there. I did my vote earlier today. He's in second place. He's trying to win this competition to basically be nationwide on a taste of home. And there's some prize money available that would allow him to do a lot more things. He's trying to get this cookbook out and a lot of things going on. So y'all please go vote for him and bring the keto carnivore world, more into the mainstream again. Because once these drugs I'm talking about are proven to be not great for people, people are going to need other options again. And I don't think it's going to be very long. But, people love the fact of being able to inject something and just eat whatever they want to, and these shots last for a week, right? Some of the natural stuff I'm talking about, I mean, it's going to boost your body's natural GLP-1, but there's no side effects. There's nothing like that. When you inject something that binds to GLP-1 in the body, it causes effects like you wouldn't believe. And some of the stuff I'm hearing already is unbelievable. So we'll see more about that. Thank you, Donna. That's where you go right there. Y'all click that link, and what happens when you go to it is it'll ask you to log in through Facebook or your email, one of the two. And so you just go to that. They just want to know that you're not a bot that's going in and voting for somebody, because you can do that kind of stuff now. You could have something that's just clicking every single second, so you actually have to go in and confirm it, and just go in and do that. Thoughts on the use of allulose for GLP-1? Allulose has been shown to raise the GLP-1 and lower blood sugar. So I think it's great. I think it's a good addition. If you want to put that in your food, that's probably the best sweetener. I'm trying to experiment with it now, because I've had problems with baking in the past. I wanted to just switch over to allulose because I really think it's the best sweetener. All the research is out there about it, with lowering blood sugar, boosting GLP-1, things like that. It's not as big an effect on GLP-1 as some of the other things I talk about, but it does. I've just had problems with baking, and so what I'm trying to do now, which a couple people have suggested, is using a lower temperature to bake things. Instead of doing 350, maybe 325, and it won't brown as much, because a lot of times it's more brown than cooked. So like by the time you get it to the internally being right, it's burned on the outside. So it's something I just got to mess with, because I'd love to be able to switch over to that. I'm not a fan of the erythritol studies. I think they've been done incorrectly from what I can gather, and doing research on it. But anytime there's something like that, like I said, I kind of follow what the science says, but I always dig into it. And if like one of the studies, for example, they took blood cells, put it in a petri dish, put in some erythritol, and then vigorously shook it. I mean, there's nothing in the body that actually does that. So I like studies that are done the way things actually happen in the body. Some of the studies done on mice, mice are pretty close as far as, being closer to humans than a lot of the things they study. That's why they study them. But at the same time, we are different. So a lot of times I don't like to take those studies at face value. And then once you dig into who's actually funding them, even less than that. But anyway, yeah, Dustin, I like allulose for that. Reading Super Gut right now, plan to follow Dr. Davis's protocol. Once I'm done experimenting with sugar diet, I think I'll need it. Yes, you probably will. Yeah, Donna's put some of the comments for people I'm referencing in there. All right, I'm gonna scroll through here. I'm like 40 minutes behind on comments, so I apologize, y'all. I'm getting to it here. Shirley says, just turned 70, keto, 4 years, 3 months, have gained back a little weight in the last few months due to stress, inflammation, and husband's health issues. I'm basically I'm basically his caregiver alone and dealing with it. Well, Shirley, I hope everything gets better for you. And the stress is gonna make you do that no matter what. So I hope everything gets better for you there, and we'll definitely be praying for you and hope everything's better. Cortisol is a bad thing. Insulin pretty much regulates weight loss, weight gain, but cortisol affects that. So stress will cause that. And for stress, I mean, I did a meditation video a while back, which I got some flack over. Whatever. It's studies have shown that meditation is great. I mean, it's helped me in my life so many times. I mean, the amount of stress I've had over the years has been almost overwhelming, and that's one of the things that helped me through it. And so people can say what they want to say, but it works, and there's plenty of research backing that up. And matter of fact, Dave Asprey, if y'all know who he is, just came out with a book which I haven't read yet. I'm still trying to get through Benazati's book, Metabolic Freedom. But after that, I'm probably going to pick that one up. It's called Heavily Meditated. And that's one of the, even if you don't do meditation the way that I taught you, even just stress reduction techniques, breathing, focusing on your breath, even at night, you can lay down in bed if you're having trouble sleeping. I'm doing a sleep series too. So I'm doing series on things, but if you lay down at night and you're having trouble sleeping, you can close your eyes and kind of focus on an area of your body. You can start with your feet and, just visualize that your feet are relaxing a little bit, and then move up to your calves and move up to your legs and just visualize that kind of stuff, just relaxing. And that'll kind of get in. That's a form of meditation too. And then by the time you get to the top of your head, you're probably going to fall asleep. And just focusing on something or focusing on nothing, depending on what you're doing, really helps with stress reduction too. So made a homemade baby formula for last baby. Definitely need more information out for the moms who can breastfeed. And for the ones that can. I know Dustin's working on a video for that. So last September, weight 205, cholesterol 264. Doctor put me on low carb, 2 meals a day, no snacks. Now weight 171, cholesterol 206. I mean, sounds like you got a good doctor, because most doctors don't recommend that, but I need to know who your doctor is, because mine just does not understand. So couldn't yo-yo either till Yo Ball came out. The Yo Ball, that was the name of that thing. I know my mom got that for me, and I don't think she trusted me with the regular yo-yo, so she got me that. I guess she figured I couldn't break anything with that, but I ended up doing that anyway. So just did some traveling, packed up my homemade protein bars, seed crackers, etc. It was a bit of pain, but felt a whole lot better. Easier to find some clean products now, but still a challenge. And it is. I enjoy a little cutie from time to time. Sometimes I'll have some grapes. Jackie says, hey, hi, Victor. Are you doing regular lives now? This is the first I've seen. Awesome to see. Yeah, I'm hoping to do these every Thursday now. I've got some stuff in the works that I had to do a video every Thursday for a while, just to lay the groundwork for something I've been working on. But now I'm hoping to do these live every Thursday, have some guests sometimes when I can. And sometimes when I can't, I'll be by myself, like tonight. And so, yeah, I'm going to try to be on here every Thursday night at 7 Eastern. And that is my intention. My beef sticks are Chomps, Paleo Valley, or Country Archer. Yeah, those Paleo Valleys are great. I also saw some that were very, very expensive, but they actually had, what were the ingredients? There was regular beef, beef heart, and beef liver. So I may end up trying. They're really expensive, but I may end up trying those out too, just to see if that's a good way to hide liver for some people. Because that's really, I mean, if you're wanting a multivitamin as carnivore, or even as keto, I try to hide it when I can inside hamburger meat that I grind. I'm gonna try to do. Um, I'm gonna try to make some beef sticks myself with that, but we'll see what happens. I haven't tried it yet, but yeah, I mean the beef liver is what's full of all the vitamins. I mean that is truly nature's multivitamin if you can do it. But like my wife can't do it. She just refuse. I mean, like can't stand the taste. But I slide it in some hamburger meat every once in a while, make some burgers. As long as you don't put too much, they'll never know. But get the benefits without having the taste of it for a lot of people. Now I love liver and onions. I mean, to me, there's not much better than some good liver and onions, but um, a lot of people don't like the taste of it. Delilah says, fruits I enjoy and eat are the berry family: raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, sometimes strawberries. Absolutely, those are the best. And one thing about those, just make sure if you can, and they're really, like, if you go to Aldi, they're not much more expensive than the regular berries. Just try to get the organic, because they're the most sprayed, other than coffee. That's the thing that they spray the most, because if you've ever had, I mean, I got strawberries out back in my garden. I've got raspberries, I've got goji berries, I've got blueberries, elderberries, and I mean the blackberries and the raspberries. I mean, they will get bugs like you wouldn't believe. Um, and so I use an organic spray on them, and then you can take them and mix up a little bit of baking soda and some water. Even if you get the conventional, if you can't afford the organic, or that's all you got available, you can take those berries and put them in some water with some baking soda, and the pesticides that they use on them are acidic, and so you put that in with the baking soda, and that will basically take that pesticide off. And so even the spray that I use, which is an organic spray, which is um, it's approved for organic gardening, but I still like to get it off there if I can. So, but yeah, if you can, just always try to get organic berries. And Carrie, I saw all the trillion likes coming up, so I appreciate you. Hey, Carolyn, good evening to you. And Carolyn did the salad experiment with me, and I think she had some good success with that too. So she was one of the people I was talking about in the private group. So I know that helped her out a little. I've lost 150 pounds now, and I stall for 6 to 8 months now. What can I do? Karen, have you been? First thing I always ask is, have you been? What are you doing? Are you doing carnivore or keto? And if you're doing keto, are you doing some kind of salads or some kind of uh, uh, non-starchy, fiber-rich vegetables? Yeah, I understand, Dustin. Me too. Yep, stall that long, mix it up. So I always say, mix it up. Depends on what you're doing. Let's see. Great question. Does your wife and kids all eat like you? My wife does. Um, my son eats, because the only thing we cook for dinner is keto. He usually does his own meals and stuff. He's in college, and so he does his own thing most of the time. But at night, if he either buys his own stuff or he eats what we have, which is keto. So, But yeah, she and I do the same things now. A lot of times, and I mix it up, kind of like what Cindy was just saying. That's always some good, that's always my advice. Like if you're doing high protein and lower fat, and you hit a stall or whatever, switch to higher fat, lower protein, or look at the gut microbiome, like what I'm talking about coming up soon. But you know, she will eat lunch sometimes when I don't. There's some days I just feel like I only want to eat one meal. Some days I feel like I want to eat two. And so I just kind of listen to what my body says. She normally always does a lunch. And so, but yeah, we both do the same thing. And then my son does it at least for dinner. And he's kind of my tester. So like if I do a keto dessert and I'm wanting to test it out, I'll give him a little bite. And if he says, "Oh yeah, that's good," then I know I got a winner, because he'll eat sweets and whatever. But at least I know if he gets really in bad shape, then he knows who to ask. So let's see. Eggy Rose, that is a great comment right there. Health does begin in the kitchen. When I was in the gym looking at calories, I'd work in the gym for a few hours to burn a few hundred calories to get them back with breakfast. Yeah. Well, the guy that I used to work for, his whole thing was, the only reason I work out is so I can drink beer at night. But it's kind of a terrible way to live, right? And I don't care if it's beer or cake or whatever the case may be. Having to run on the treadmill for an hour to do that, when you can eat 95% good, still enjoy some of the things like that every once in a while. One of my favorite influencers I watched before I saw your channel. I don't watch her anymore. Yeah. Karen, I was sort of at a weight loss stall at 180 pound loss for a while, so I started tracking and experimenting with cutting protein, increasing fat gradually each week. Dale says, love Victor's fat bombs, butter, and cookie dough, especially El Ruderi in my Instant Pot. Makes lots of my recipes. Well, thank you, Daryl. Yeah. That El Ruderi, man, that's, and, so coming up in this series, I'm going to be making a mixed culture yogurt also. So if you think your gut microbiome, and I'm going to go over all this in the videos, so I won't spend too much time on it right now, but if you've ever gone through a round of antibiotics, birth control pills, high processed food diet, there's so many factors, but and there's a lot of symptoms also that can kind of tell you this. If you don't want to do the breath tester like I was talking about, or ordering a test through the doctor, there's some online tests also. You can use deduction just with what I'm talking about. And if you think you might have that, then, do this protocol. Not saying you especially, Daryl, but the El Ruderi can be the end game for some people. Like you may need to go and restore the gut microbiome first, and then add the El Ruderi in. The thing is, the El Ruderi will live all the way through the gut, where a lot of times in the upper intestinal tract is where all the bad bacteria will hang out, and nothing, a lot of the other ones won't live there. And 96% of people in the world have lost El Ruderi in their gut microbiome. And that's the thing in the upper intestinal tract that will get rid of a lot of the bad stuff that lives there, the E. coli. I mean, it's really, really fascinating, but I'm gonna make it real simple for my videos, and not get too in the weeds, because there's plenty of guys out there that will cover all the science, all the exacts and things like that if you're into that. But I'm just going to go over the basics and make it simple and as understandable as I can, the way I understand it anyway. But the L-reuteri lives up there and will kill off a lot of the bad stuff. The problem is if you've got a proliferation of bad bacteria all through your gut, the L-reuteri might be overtaken by some of the bad bacteria, and so you may need to add in some different strains to kill that first, then add the L-reuteri in. So there's a protocol for that. So we're going to be going through that over the next 4 weeks. So some of you will get bored with that, but some of you, I think it'll be really helpful. And I'm looking really forward to some of the comments and some of the success stories through that, because I think there's going to be a lot of them. And let's see. Scroll through here real quick. Dustin says, crazy thing is the mind is made of your body. How could the mind and body not be linked, right? But yeah, 20, 25 years ago, people were thinking we were crazy. You know, guys like Dr. Andrew Weil and Deepak Chopra, and several of the people I learned a lot of things from. People just thought that was just the craziest thing in the world, and now, there's studies done on all that, and it's been proven all that stuff is actually true. And they were nuts back then, right? I was doing avocado small or medium a day. I've had to go off of nuts because I'm not living at home. Dr. Berry has over 1 million subscribers. He has enough streams to speak his mind fairly freely and not worry about the consequences. And I ain't really worried about the consequences either. I don't have 1 million, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say I think it's irresponsible for people to be talking about the sugar diet. I'm glad he agrees with me. But even if he didn't, I'm going to say it anyway. So. Oh, keep speaking what's on your mind, your sights, your ideas, your wisdom to share as you like. Thank you. And that's what I say, hey, you ain't got to watch me, but I appreciate all of you that do. I really do. But I'm trying to bring my experience to this, the common sense, health and wellness thing. Kind of rebranded the channel a little bit because, like I said, I'm trying to reach people that may not know about keto and low carb, or may see keto or low carb and be like, oh no, I don't want any part of that because of the dogma associated with a lot of it. It's sorry about that. So what's the difference between the L-reuteri and the prebiotics and probiotics we see advertised? So the biggest difference, L-reuteri is an actual microbe. So like there's dozens of different individual microbes that each do different things in the body. Let me just look this up real quick so I make sure I have this correct. But to be classified as a yogurt, so in other words, if you sell a yogurt in the store, it has to contain 2 different bacterial strains: Lactobacillus delbrueckii, Lactobacillus bulgarius, and Streptococcus thermophilus. If it does not contain those 3 microbes, it can't be considered a yogurt. You can't label it as a yogurt in the store. So that's why when I talk about that, I call that L-reuteri a super yogurt. But it really, like if you were selling it in the store, which you can't, there used to be, Stonyfield Farms used to have that as one of the microbes within their yogurt, in addition to those other 3, so they could still call it yogurt. Now they have taken it out of there. So to my knowledge, unless there's something sold in Whole Foods, there's no brands in the United States that actually use L-reuteri. There's a couple brands of Kefir that use L-reuteri in there. But so if I were going to take a probiotic, which I wouldn't. I would, because of what I said earlier about, like, even if everything was from manufacturing time, kept at a controlled temperature the whole time, refrigerated, and then you got it to you, you might have 2 billion um, microbes per capsule. Um, well, if you take that same capsule with 2 billion in it and you make one of these cultured yogurts, by the time it gets done, which is a 36-hour process, longer than conventional yogurt. Most commercial yogurt you find in the store is somewhere between 6 and 8 hours of fermentation time. So there's basically no benefit to that. They can call it probiotic yogurt or whatever, the Yoplait, the Dannons, you know, they don't have any beneficial cultures in them. So by the time the 36 hours is over, they multiply about every 4 hours. So by the time you get to the end, over 36 hours, you got 200 billion cultures in there versus your one little probiotic pill that might have 2 billion. Really, by the time it gets to you, it might have 500,000 because of the way it was handled. So the Allulose is a specific microbe with specific benefits. The biggest benefit is it's the only one that will occupy the upper regions of the intestines, where normally E. coli hangs out, and other bad bacteria. E. coli is in everybody unless you get rid of it and replace it with something else. Obviously, it's not as bad as the E. coli contamination from foods, where it came from a pasture and ended up in vegetables. But that's the short answer on that. But that series, I'm going to cover all that good stuff. What do you think about kimchi and kimchi on keto? Kimchi is a great food. The thing you want to make sure with kimchi, any fermented foods, you want to make sure that it is non-pasteurized. When you look at the package, it should say non-pasteurized. It should say raw, or it should say probiotic. And probiotic is kind of hit or miss because there's really not a lot of regulation that goes on to call something probiotic. All you can do is kind of research the company and hope they're telling the truth. But it should definitely be raw. It should definitely be unpasteurized. The best thing to do is make it yourself, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this series also. I think it's great. I think fermented foods are something that we have lost. Even if people think they're getting something, like, I'm going to throw a little bit of sauerkraut in. Well, if you got pasteurized sauerkraut, that's killed all the beneficial bacteria in there. Basically, what you got is some pickled cabbage with the fermented pickle part of it just destroyed by the heating process. So that is definitely something important that supports your gut, and that's a strategy you can use if you need to bring back all the artificial beneficial gut bacteria. Once you get all that brought back, that's a good way to keep it going. Fermented foods are awesome, but better to make sure it's, like I said, raw, unpasteurized, or do research on the probiotic ones and make sure the company is legit on that. I wonder how probiotic manufacturers go about counting colony forming units. Like, if it advertises 200 billion, but I only count 190 billion, can I get a refund? Hey, if you've got a tester that can measure the CFUs, I would love to get together with you, and I'll buy a bunch of them. We'll test them all and see. So, but yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, though, because you can take those. You can make a fermented dairy product out of them, and increase the amount, whatever's in there to start with. You can increase it exponentially by making a yogurt out of it, because it's going to keep growing. Same thing with the kefir that you buy in the store. So if you buy a kefir, and if you don't know what it is, it's a liquid, basically like a liquid yogurt, but you make it a little different, um, and so you can find it in the dairy section. But there's some good organic brands and everything. But same thing as the yogurt, a lot of them don't ferment it nearly long enough. But you could take that and sit it on the counter for 24 hours to reintroduce it to the doubling effect, like I said, every 4 hours, to increase the amount of beneficial microbes in there. So I would say yes. If you got that equipment, we'll contact them. So, can someone have a healthy gut biome but also be in bad metabolic health overall? I would say probably not. I mean, everybody's different, but you know that's something me and Dr. Davis will talk about. But it's his belief, and from the evidence he's presented, if you got a healthy gut microbiome, then most likely you're going to be metabolically healthy as well. But remember, this is something that's happened over the last short period of time, the last really less than 100 years, that a lot of these uh, microbes have disappeared all over the world. And it's a combination of the soil, not having the microbes in the soil anymore. It's a combination of a terrible diet with processed foods killing the microbes. I mean, there's so many factors involved. So this is a pretty new thing that this has even happened. But if you look at the relationship of when the microbes started decreasing and the metabolic health problems started increasing, it's pretty much an inverse reaction. So, um, while I would say it's probably possible for people to be in bad metabolic health, but I think it wouldn't be really easy. Carl Keto Dog, welcome. An animal that is carnivore eats plants as needed. They know they need it and practice zoopharmacognosy. All right, I'm gonna have to work on pronouncing that word. I'll look into that too. So I like that. Self-selecting plants for health. Yes. Um, how are you liking the new book, Metabolic Freedom? I am enjoying it. I like it a lot. So I'd love to get Ben on here sometime. Also, I'd love to talk to him. He's been doing some great work, and so I would love that. Hey there, Xtina. How are you doing? Yep, there is that's the air too. That's what I was talking about for the hydrogen breath testing. So, like I said, I don't have an affiliate link to it. I don't have a discount code for it. I don't think they really need to do that. They don't need anybody to sell it for them because it's the only home test that you can do. So, if you're doing hydrogen breath testing to see if you've got small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, there's this home test, or you can order a test for about $150. You can have your doctor do it for $200, and then you'll need to do it again to see if it's actually gone. You've corrected the problem, and then 6 months later, if you have a round of antibiotics, well, you go back and do that test again, and then do it again. So the thing, I think it was $250, and they had a coupon code on their website, so I got it for like $225. Basically, just to show everybody how it works, and like I said, you don't need to buy that. You can use deduction, and just figure out if you think you got small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and chances are good if you got Crohn's disease, if you got ulcerative colitis, or a whole host of conditions, then chances are real good that you probably have that. And so anyway, that is that test. So, but you can use that as many times as you want to. So it was really designed for FODMAP foods, and so Dr. Davis kind of adapted that to figure out how to diagnose small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. But that's one of the downsides of that is you may use that, and it's just basically telling you what foods to avoid instead of kind of getting down to the gut of the problem, so to speak. So truth matters. I am so sorry. Hopefully your Wi-Fi does not go out. Just ended 30 days of beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. It was rough, I guarantee you. I've done it. I only do it for about a week. And so, Cindy, it was great meeting you. Gracie, I'll do that. And Donna is usually real good about putting the links to these videos down in the comments too. So, any recommendations on a probiotic for someone with histamine intolerance? I love fermented foods, used to make my own kefir, but now all of it sets out a terrible histamine response. So I would say that you are probably a great candidate to start from scratch. Rebuilding the mucus in the gut, which is what I'll be talking about in the first week. I would start over. I don't know if you've done any of the hydrogen testing on the breath or not, but let me know if you have or not. But that's one of the things about the probiotics that you get in the store as well, is you don't know what strains are in there, and some strains you got to really carefully select them, and that's something that Dr. Davis talks about a lot. And some of the ones, the probiotics that you get in the store, and even some of the ones that are naturally fermented, may take over more than you want them to, and could cause some things in the body to happen negatively instead of positively. So I would do the L-reuteri yogurt first, because most likely the histamine intolerance, you've got some upper intestinal things going on, and the bad bacteria or the bad microbes. I always say bacteria because that's what I was kind of taught on, but it's really microbes. So there's a good chance that that's taken over, and the L-reuteri would be good to start with, and just see if that helps if you have the ability to make it. And I'm going to be talking about some other things. I've got the Allulose yogurt video where I did it in the Instant Pot for people that don't have an Instant Pot with a temperature setting. So I figured out how to do that using the little silicone pad and putting it in jars, which basically keeps the temperature, because Allulose thrives at body temperature. So you're going to make it at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think is 38 Celsius, if I remember correctly. And anything over that, like if you get to 115 degrees, it's going to kill it. So your conventional yogurt makers, if they don't have a setting, temperature setting, it's most likely going to kill the Allulose. The mixed culture yogurt, we're going to do it 106 degrees. So the Allulose is not going to grow as fast. There's going to be more of the Allulose culture in it, but it's going to have a couple other strains as well. But the little bit higher temperature is not enough to kill it. 110 and over is really where you're just not going to get any benefit from it at all. But that's going to slow the growth of the Allulose, and the other two are going to be able to thrive. So it's kind of a good combination of the three. But I would start with that Allulose first and see what happens, and go from there. The idea of the gut developing a biome depending on what you eat leads to a monoculture in the gut, and that's not a good thing, especially if they're bad bacteria. That's exactly right. What's your opinion on bamboo fiber? That's a great question. I haven't messed around a lot with it as far as cooking, but I think that bamboo fiber, it is a starch. So I tested it once when I was doing a lot of testing on different drinks and things to see if they contained maltodextrin. And the iodine test, you can take anything that you are wondering if it contains maltodextrin or not, and you can mix it into a glass and drop a few drops of the Lugols. I use the Lugols 2%. I do 2 to 3 drops a day of that because everybody pretty much is deficient in iodine. Iodized salt doesn't have anything, and you don't want it anyway. Using natural salt, it's got the minerals with it, but it does show up as a starch. So I've been curious on, there's not a cheap test to check insulin, but I'd be curious for anybody that's type 2 diabetic to check out bamboo fiber and check out if it raises your blood sugar or not. But I think that and oat fiber are probably fine. I don't think they're digestible, but I really don't know. I haven't had enough type 2 diabetics, and I couldn't find any studies when I was trying to learn about it that suggest that either way that it does or doesn't raise blood sugar. So it's kind of an individual thing on that. I would say try some, even try it plain, and then measure your blood sugar an hour and 2 hours after eating it, or every 30 minutes even, and see if it elicits a response. I think it's undigestible, so I don't think it will, but I'm not positive about it. I want to do more with it in the future. Really, oat fiber. I think oat fiber could be even better, but that's not. I don't have enough information on that to say for sure, because I haven't found any studies that prove one way or the other, or large enough studies that prove it one way or the other. So I'd say that's an individual thing, like a lot of them. Sorry, that's the best answer I can give you, but I hope it helps. So many keto and carnivore recipes have eggs. I'm allergic to eggs. So yeah, you can try some egg substitutes, some chia seeds or psyllium husk and water. I actually tried to make a chaffle recipe without any eggs and failed miserably. The chia seed and the psyllium husk, I couldn't get anything that resembled that. So this is a great comment here. A patient cured is a customer lost. That's absolutely right. Yep, there's no money to be made in healthy people, and they need repeat customers. When the hospitals, when a lot of the hospitals start shutting down, except for the ones that are, for extreme emergencies, then it's working. We have spread the word, and they're going to lose their customers. Both the American Diabetes Association and the education of certified dietitians is financed by the company Abbott Laboratories. Check it out. They also make insulin and the diabetic shakes like Glucerna, etc. Follow the money. Always follow the money. Oh, there we go. Hope is Mission Keto. She's the one that did my, she's the one that made the bagels. If y'all are interested in watching that, I posted that on my YouTube yesterday on the community posts. I got the link to that video there too. RFK Jr. just found a bunch of food dyes. Hope that is the beginning. Yes. I believe it is. I think we're going in a good direction as far as food goes. So I've cut way back on sugar, processed sugar. So when I do eat them, ice cream, candy, and such, I feel absolutely awful, tired and sluggish. I totally believe sugar is not good for me. I don't believe it's good for many people. Thank you, Donnie. Yes, y'all smash the like button. And please share it if you know anybody that this could help. Stephanie says the sugar diet is insane, just a fad. It will end, and I pray many people don't end up with severe health issues because of it. Well, that's a good point, because a lot of us have ended up in terrible health because of eating too much sugar, too much carbs, and all that good stuff. So, Sugar diet's a standard American diet, guys. That's what it's made up of: carbs, sugars, etc., etc. A little bit of protein. That's what they suggest, right? Um, look up some of the influencers that did vegan diets or all fruit diets and see how that went. Browning problem with allulose can be delayed by the addition of a small amount of monk fruit. Thank you, Sally. Try that too. Yep, the erythritol studies were very small and not well done. Can you do some cortisol lowering videos? Yes. And Sally, if I don't remember the name of the video, but I did do a meditation video, which also helps to lower cortisol. And so if that's something you want to try, 20 minutes a day or 20 minutes twice a day is shown to lower cortisol. I think I put some studies about that actually down in the description on that video. But that is one thing that can help. Breath work can help. Basically lowering stress. But yeah, I'm gonna do some videos on that specifically. So yes, you got it. Carolyn, great job. I know your story and I appreciate you. Carolyn is always on the private Facebook group sharing her recipes. Every one of my recipes she makes always looks better than mine. So there's that. I wish she'd just come and make the stuff and then I'll do the video on it, because then I'd have a good thumbnail picture for the video. But anyway, keto 6-year reverse type 2, blood pressure in check, lost almost 100 pounds, 30 more to go. I don't have cravings anymore. Anything I can want, I can make it keto. And that's what it's all about right there. I love it. Yep, meditation is one of the things, if you're serious about it, happens to help. However, if people think it's a gimmick, they don't see benefits because they don't actually do it. Yep. Absolutely. Geologia, can you comment on cold showers or cold plunge? Yes. I am not. In fact, I was going to make a video on this very thing. The cold plunge is not something I would recommend to anybody. Now, when I get out of the shower, excuse me, when I get out of the sauna, I do the sauna just about, well, as many times a week as I can fit it in. Usually about 3 times a week. I've got a sauna blanket. I did a video about that. After I get out of that, I'll go take a cold shower, but that's a lot different than the cold plunge. The cold plunge is really stressful on the heart. There's been numerous studies done on that. I really wanted to try it because I'm a Tony Robbins fan. I love Tony Robbins. I love all the mindset things. Tony Robbins did it. I'm like, I'm going to try it. So I researched it. And like anything else, before I suggest it to anybody, I do all my due diligence on it, do all my research on it. But there's been a lot of instances of sudden cardiac events on people, especially if you got underlying heart issues that you don't know about. I don't recommend anything that could possibly. Same with this, I'm not even gonna mention it again, but I don't recommend it. I think there's better ways. The sauna, there's even grounding and things like that. I mean, there's the benefits they talk about, like lowering inflammation and things like that, can be done with grounding, can be done with the sauna, that are generally safe for, well, grounding is safe for anybody. Sauna is pretty much safe for anybody. Always talk to your doctor before you start anything new. I'm not a licensed physician, so always check. But I don't recommend anything that could possibly lead to something like that. And so, people get benefits out of it, but I think there's more downside to that where you can use other techniques to get the same benefits as that without the risk. Let's see. You're not by yourself tonight. I've got some people in here now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you. I got that. Yeah, I'm trying to read through, Donna. I'm a little bit behind, but um, I'm trying to catch up here. I got my own raspberry patch in my backyard. I love being able to grab my own and freeze. Skipped all berries when I started keto, but now I eat a few raspberries and blackberries. Yep, I'm a fan of those. Got some good fiber on there and good organic. Let's see. Craft Crazy said, I haven't been brave enough to try beef liver yet, but I have mixed chicken livers in with chicken thighs and ground beef. Works great. Trick did not work with sardines. Yeah. There's not much you can do to mask that sardine flavor. You either like those or you don't. But yeah, there's also supplements you can take too to get your organ meats in. But I would say you're pretty safe to go to a local restaurant. If you find one near you that does liver and onions, that's normally how it is. I would try it that way. Normally, if it's on the menu, they know how to cook it. I don't run into very many that actually have it on the menu that don't cook it well. And you might even want to go up and ask them, hey, can I just try a little bit of that? I ain't never tried it before. And before you order the whole plate of it. But I think that'd be a good way to try it anyway. Wish I could do dairy, but unfortunately it causes me inflammation. There's a lot of people that have problems with dairy that can do the L-reuteri or the cultured dairy. Yogurt in the store is not going to be the same. You're not going to have, basically there's yogurt in the store is just is a snack. You know, the reason they put thickeners and carrageenan and all kinds of things in there to thicken it up is because, you know, it hasn't been able to eat the lactose. And so if you see anything like that, you can be assured it's not going to have the probiotics in it that it needs. But, you know, a lot of people can do L-reuteri yogurt and the SIBO yogurt and things like that can't do dairy. It just works differently with the bacteria. Can you make the super gut yogurt if you don't have an Instant Pot? Yes. My favorite way to do it now is in the sous vide. So if you got a sous vide machine, you can do it in that. There's also several yogurt makers that have temperature settings on it. For the super gut yogurt, either the L-reuteri that I've already made and I've got the video for, or the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth yogurt or SIBO yogurt that I'm going to make coming up, you just need the temperature control. So for the L-reuteri, it's going to be 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to be 106. You got to have the temperature just so you make sure you don't kill any of the beneficial microbes. Yep, there you go. Yeah, as long as you can control the temperature. Yeah, sous vide is if you got a sous vide on there, that should work fine. Yep, absolutely. Can you add kefir to a smoothie? Yes. The thing is with the benefits of the yogurt, you don't want any high-speed blending. And, you know, I don't know what kefir you're using. If you ferment it extra, like I was talking about, putting it on the counter to grow even more bacteria because most of them don't ferment it long enough. What you want to do is stir it in at the end. You don't want to blend it high speed because the heat, a lot of times it comes out of the blender, or just the blending itself will kill off a lot of the microbes. So you could definitely do that. I would blend the smoothie first and just stir that in. It'll work fine. Okay, let's go here. Yeah, y'all make sure and go vote for Chris. He's got, oh, he actually may, I think it ends at 10 p.m. our time. So y'all make sure you go vote for Chris in this contest here. So I haven't done the breath test, but I definitely need to get it done. I'll give the L-Reuteri a try. And listen, like I said, you don't have to buy that. I'm going to tell you in the first video some of the things to look for. But if you think that this is a problem for you, you may want to do it. If you think you're going to be serious about testing it, it's going to save you money over time. Because like I said, if you do the breath test, either from the doctor or the home test that they have where you blow in the thing and send it off, number one, you may not do it correctly. Even if you follow the directions, I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather you go to the doctor and have it done. But like I said, you'll spend a couple $100 getting the test done once, and then if you want to make sure it's all gone, you're going to spend another couple $100 after a month or 2 months or whatever it is to make sure that it's gone. So, that AR2 unit is beneficial if you're going to try it more than one time. But I will tell you in that video how to kind of determine if you think it may be a problem for you or not. Sweet, Cindy, thank you for the update. Chris is now in first place. So awesome. John, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. $20. Thank you so much, John. Let me do a little. I love that. Can you make super good here if you don't have an Instant Pot? I have a Ninja Spit. Okay. Got that one to you already. Yeah, and you can also, the Speedy, I love Ninja stuff. I'm just not familiar with that one because I've got my Instant Pot and the sous vide. But yes, if you got the sous vide, you can definitely do that. Sally, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'm so glad I can help you out. Another Donna's in the house. Donna Lee says, glad I caught you live, Donna. I'm glad you're here. So I think we got 3 Donnas in the house tonight. So yeah, Stephanie, definitely leave it on the counter. You can definitely do 24 hours. You could probably get away with 48, but if you leave it out for 24 hours, it's going to have a chance to keep growing that, and then stick it back in the fridge and use it. So it's working. Everybody keep voting. I just checked, and Chris is back in first. Boys and their toys, yes. Hey, I love some kitchen tools and some gadgets and all the things. So, and power tools too, Had to use a Sawzall today. That's my favorite. You can do anything with a Sawzall, anything you got to cut. So, well, y'all, if you don't have any more questions, it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. Y'all all go in and check that link out up there. Make sure you go in and vote for Chris. Let's get him in first place. That would be great for our community to get somebody in the carnivore keto space, in a cooking competition. He'd be featured in a magazine. People will be like, "What in the world, a carnivore chef?" And his stuff's amazing. If y'all haven't made any of his recipes or whatever, you need to try them out. He's got the 90-second bread. I know Wes, Highfalutin Low Carb, who's made a few of my recipes too, just did his 90-second bread yesterday. And so, y'all go and vote for Chris, and you'll see me, Chris, and Dustin on a keto crusade coming up here soon. And I'll be back next week with or without a guest. I'm not sure yet. I got somebody I've been trying to get, but our schedules are not quite meshing. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping to get them, but we'll just see how the schedule goes. So um, thanks for allowing me to learn a lot, and now I have more questions for the next one. Awesome. Well, listen, y'all. Oh yeah, yeah, Cindy. I know you made some of Chris's recipes. We just talked about one when when we met. I need to work on that. But yeah, Chris has got some great stuff. The carnivore mashed potatoes. If y'all hadn't checked that out, and listen, I'm not carnivore, so you know I do a lot of other things. But I'm telling you, those carnivore mashed potatoes. My mom at Thanksgiving, she said, "Look, you don't have to make me special potatoes anymore. I'll eat those." So that's kind of a testament to how great he is in the kitchen. And I mean, he's a true chef. He's got the talent. I can throw together some easy stuff that tastes good, but he's a talented chef. And you know, he can. Some of them are kind of involved now, but those mashed potatoes are worth it. So anyway, and there's no potatoes in it, of course, but stuff he does in the kitchen is amazing. So y'all vote for him, and you know, let's get him up there. So Stephanie, you have a blessed evening also. Sherry, yeah, I can't come up with some of the stuff he comes up with, so I'm glad he's there to do it. And Cindy, yeah, you were talking about those pancakes. So yeah, y'all try those pancakes out too. Go drop him a vote. Let's get him in first place and let's get him on to the finals. So listen, y'all have a great night. I'll see y'all next Thursday. Got a video coming out on some donuts because I already did the bagels, but I got some high protein donuts. So get your favorite protein powder ready. And Donna loves this feet loaf video. So check out my old feet loaf video too. Y'all have a great night, a great week. Don't do the freaking sugar diet, and I'll see y'all next Thursday.